The wind howled across the quiet streets of a small American town as snowflakes drifted under the flickering streetlights. It was almost midnight, and Jack Miller was wiping down the last counter inside his tiny roadside diner, Jack's Place. Business had been slow for weeks. The heater barely worked, the coffee machine sputtered, and the unpaid bills piled up near the cash register like ghosts of worry. Still, Jack kept the place open, hoping someone might stop by for a warm meal. Just as he turned the open sign to closed, the door creaked open. A tall, broad-shouldered biker stepped inside, his boots leaving wet marks on the linoleum. He was drenched, his beard frozen, his leather jacket stiff with frost. His eyes were tired, the kind that had seen too much of the road and too little kindness. "Kitchen's closed, friend," Jack said gently, pulling off his apron. The biker didn't argue. He just nodded and turned toward the door, his shoulders slumping as if the cold outside had already claimed him. Jack hesitated. The man looked like he hadn't eaten in days. Something in Jack's heart tugged, the same compassion that had once driven him to open this diner, even when he couldn't afford it. "Hey, wait," Jack called out. "Sit down. I'll make you something hot." The biker froze, then slowly turned. "You sure?" His voice was deep and hoarse, almost disbelieving. Jack smiled faintly. "You look like you need it more than I do." He moved back into the kitchen, firing up the old grill. The sizzle of bacon filled the air, mixing with the rich aroma of coffee. The biker sat at the counter watching silently. Steam rose from his clothes as he thawed out in the dim light. When Jack placed the plate in front of him, eggs, bacon, toast, and a steaming cup of coffee, the biker's hands trembled slightly. "You didn't have to do this," he said quietly. Jack shrugged. "Sometimes people forget what it's like to be cold and hungry. I haven't." The biker took a bite, chewing slowly as warmth returned to his face. There was something almost grateful in his expression, though he didn't speak much. They sat mostly in silence, the only sound being the soft hum of the old jukebox and the wind outside. After finishing the meal, the biker reached into his pocket. It was empty. His jaw tightened with embarrassment. "I don't have money right now," he admitted. Jack waved him off. "Forget it. You can pay me back someday if life gives you the chance." The biker nodded slowly. Then, standing up, he removed his worn leather jacket and placed it on the counter. "Then I'll leave this instead. It's not much, but it's something." Before Jack could protest, the man was gone, swallowed by the storm. Jack stared at the jacket for a long time. It was heavy, weathered, but still warm. He didn't know then that this small act of kindness, given on a freezing night, 3 weeks passed since that freezing night. Winter still lingered over the little American town, and Jack's diner was struggling more than ever. The regulars had stopped coming, deliveries were delayed, and the bank had sent another warning letter. Every morning, Jack looked at the biker's old leather jacket hanging by the door, a silent reminder of that strange, quiet encounter. Sometimes he wondered where that man had gone. Maybe he'd found shelter. Maybe he hadn't survived the cold. Jack tried not to think about it. He just kept opening his diner every morning, hoping for a miracle that never seemed to come. Then, one chilly Saturday morning, as Jack poured himself a cup of weak coffee, a deep rumble shook the ground outside. He frowned, stepping to the window. Down the road came the thunder of engines, a line of motorcycles, shining chrome and black leather, rolling toward the diner like a small army. Jack's heart pounded. He counted at least a dozen bikes. The lead rider was a tall man wearing a brand-new jacket with a silver emblem on the back, Iron Brotherhood. When they parked, the man pulled off his helmet, and Jack froze. It was him. The same biker he'd fed that night, only this time he looked different. His face was clean-shaven, his eyes bright, his presence commanding. The diner door opened and the group filed in, filling the small space with laughter and the smell of engine oil. Jack wiped his hands nervously on a rag. "Well, I'll be damned," Jack muttered, half smiling. "Didn't think I'd see you again." The biker grinned. "Told you I'd pay you back someday." He reached into his jacket and handed Jack a thick envelope. Jack hesitated, then opened it, his breath caught. Inside was a check large enough to pay off his debts, repair the diner, and keep it running for years. "I don't understand," Jack stammered. "Why would you do this?" The biker leaned against the counter, his tone warm but steady. "That night you didn't see a criminal or a stranger. You just saw a man who needed help. That meal saved me, more than you know. I was on the road to nowhere. But your kindness reminded me what mattered." He gestured to the others. "These are my brothers. We run a non-profit now, Iron Brotherhood Outreach. We help small towns and struggling folks. You started it, Jack. You gave me hope." Jack felt his eyes sting. The diner, once cold and empty, was now alive with laughter and chatter as the bikers ordered food, telling stories and filling the room with warmth. By the end of the day, locals had gathered outside, curious about the sudden crowd. Word spread quickly about the biker who returned to repay kindness with kindness. Within a week, Jack's place became a community favorite again. That night, as Jack locked up, he looked at the spot where the old jacket once hung. A smile crept across his face. One simple act of compassion had come full circle, proving that no kindness, however small, ever truly fades. Would return to him in a way that would change his life forever.